Alright, it's Henry again, and this is my review of the Master Grade Wing Zero Custom. Alright, so this is the Master Grade Wing Gundam Zero Custom, and this is what the kit is going to look like, snapped together straight out of the box, no paint or anything. Most of the kit is molded in the correct, the correct colors. We've got a dark blue, we've got red, white, just 3 yellow parts. Got a few clear parts on the chest and the arms and the eyes. Really, the only painting that needs to be done is just the clear parts for the eyes and the chest camera and all that, and other than that, you're pretty much good to go. So, this is the kit. You are also going to get, of course, a twin buster rifle. You're going to get 2 clear green beam sabers. These are the curved type, and they're also a little bit darker green than what we usually see from a Bandai model kit. The handles, by the way, are back here in the wings. You'll get 2 little 1:100 scale pilot figures, one sitting, that'll go in the cockpit, and one standing. And kind of unintentionally, we get an option for the hands. We got the white hands on here, but on the runner of parts that came from Master Grade Wing Gundam Verka, we get these gray hands. My camera will focus on them. So we've got some gray hands in addition to the white hands, so really you can do either one. And one nice little bonus for this kit is that it comes with a display stand. And it's not an action base. It doesn't, have any parts that are compatible with an action base. It's its own thing. But this is going to connect into the backpack, and it's just a nice, simple little stand. And I'll show you more of that later. You do get some markings. You'll get a sheet of clear stickers, mostly for caution markings. A few 0 and XXXG. 00 Wing 0 down there. You'll get a sheet of dry transfer decals, lots of Colonies Liberation Organization stuff, and then a very small sheet of foil stickers. As you can see, this is pretty much just going to be for the eyes and the various cameras on the kit. Camera's not one to focus on much of anything today. Anyway, so, like I said, this is the kit snapped together, and I think usually I like to do articulation before painting the kit, but I think in this case I'm going to go ahead and paint this guy up and then come back and do articulation after that. Alright, so this is the Wing Zero Custom all painted up. As you can see, I went with the original color scheme, the dark blue, red, white, and just a little bit of yellow. The stickers they actually gave us green stickers for the cameras on the forehead and the back of the head, but I painted them purple because that's the colors they were in the manual, and that's the colors they were in the movie, with the exception of the green camera there on the V-fin. And clear green for the cameras on the wrist and the search eye, obviously. I used kind of a gray, light gray pre-shading on the body, the white parts of the body. I used a lavender post-shading on the wings, because all of the artwork you see of Wing Zero Custom, the wings are sort of a lavender color. So I tried to replicate that in my paint job. And then I used some of the dry transfers that came with the kit and used some a water slide copy of the stickers because I don't really care for the clear stickers that much. But anyway, this is what the kit ends up looking like. So I guess now we can move on to articulation. The head is on a ball joint, so it's going to be able to go up and down. It's actually on a ball joint at the base of the head, and then down at the base of the neck there's a hinge that just sort of goes forward and back. So you've got a bit of movement there. Not much side to side, obviously, because he's got these big old ears on the side of his head. But plenty of forward and back movement. Rotation is okay. It can go about that far. It's not going to go 360. As many people have said, why would you even need it to go 360? I'm a firm believer in that. So anyway, on to the shoulders. You've got a mechanism in the shoulder inside the torso that's going to allow the shoulder to come out. Back when this kit was made in 2004, this was kind of a new thing. Nowadays it's pretty standard. Almost every kit has that mechanism, but when this kit first came out, pretty much the only reason he had it was so he could bring his arms together and do the forward-firing Buster rifle pose. But you've got that, and of course they rotate 360 as long as you keep these wings out of the way. The shoulder armor can come out like so. Really that is only functional for the, the atmospheric re-entry mode. Some of these little pieces of the shoulder armor can move up and down. Yeah, it's nice that they're posable, but you're really not going to be using it. Rotation below the shoulder, double jointed elbow. You've got pretty much a full 180. Not a true 180, but I mean the wrist can pretty much touch the shoulder armor, so that's as far as you're ever going to need it to go. You've got ball joint at the wrist, ball joint thumb. This is before they had ball joints for the fingers, so we've got just a forward and back kind of hinge for the fingers with the index finger separate there. And there is an opening cockpit on this kit. As you can see here, it sort of slides out from the chest there. You can see the little Hiro Yui sitting in the cockpit. It is kind of tricky to get open though, because there's not really much of anything to grab onto, so you're probably going to want to get a flathead screwdriver to open that up. Alright, now on to the mid-torso. You've got a joint at mid-torso, so you can bend forward. You can actually see some of the armor splitting right there. You've got actually it's molded in white, but I painted it gray, so it ends up being a gray part. So really nice forward bend. A ball joint at the waist, so lots of forward and back and side to side, and just really good mobility. Except for rotation, he's only going to rotate about that far. The forward and back and side to side is great, but the rotation, not so much. Skirt armor, the front skirts are on ball joints. They can move up and down about that far. Side skirts don't have a whole lot of range of movement because they're kind of pointy. They're only going to go up about that far and rotate just a little bit. Turn them around. The two back skirts are actually connected together on a peg, and they go up about that far. Really not much more than that, because you're not really going to need them to move around too awfully much anyway. The hips are on ball joints, so they can go forward about that far as the front skirts will let them. Back, as far as the back skirts will let them out. They go out about that far, not too awfully far to be honest. Got a full 180 degree bend at the knee. As you can see, the knee armor moves. And really the knee armor is kind of a leftover gimmick from the Wing Gundam Verka, where it had to move around all crazy for the transformation. But seeing as how Wing Zero Custom doesn't have a proper transformation, it's just going to move like that for the knee bend. So no need to have it in too many crazy angles. The ankle, you actually got a double ball joint for the ankle. The whole ankle armor section is going to be able to move on that ball joint. You got a ball joint here, and then another one down at the foot. As you can see, this guy right here is on a polycap. He can go up and down and rotate side to side just a little bit. The foot, the heel section doesn't move, but you've got a nice downward angle at the front section of the foot. Alright, so that is it for the body. Now let's take a look at these wings. Alright, you've got 4 different wings. These larger wings we'll go over first. They've got a connection. You see a very large joint right here. If my camera will focus on it. So there we go. Very large joint right there. That's pretty much just going to go forward and back. And really the only time you're going to be using that very much is for the atmospheric re-entry mode. And they do rotate right there as well. so that's on a peg. Then you've also got rotation here where it connects to the wing, and another up and down joint where it connects to the wing. This is actually, that up and down joint I just showed you is actually a ratcheted joint, so it's nice and sturdy. And then, like I said, the rotation there. And the wings, the large wings anyway, well, actually the smaller wings do open up too. This is actually the only version of Wing Zero Custom where the larger wings open up. The high grade and perfect grade don't do this, only on the master grade. Just going to grab this, and these two sections will come out, and there you go. So that's pretty much all there is to it, and they're actually kind of connected together so they move simultaneously, but yeah, they can open up like that just to make it look a little more feathery. And close that off, and a feather popped off. These feathers are made out of rubber, they're not plastic, and they do look nice, I'll give them that. But they're a little bit loose, they're kind of floppy. Each one is on a ball joint, and you'll find they do pop off from time to time, but not too bad. They don't, that's the first time one's fallen off during the course of this review, so hopefully that'll be the only time. These feathers here on the inside, these three, are actually on a hinge all together, so they can come forward like that. Again, that's for the atmospheric re-entry mode, which I'll show you later. Now, let's see, move this out of the way. Let's take a look at these smaller wings in the back. Now, they're connected with a joint in the backpack. This is going to go side to side like so, and then this also going to have rotation on it. And they can go up quite a ways, actually almost all the way up. And they do have an opening feature. Grab hold of this part at the bottom and pull. Sometimes you have to kind of work with it, but pull out and then they'll fan out like so, and these little smaller feathers will pop out and slide out like that. So there you go. That is the articulation for the wings, and that does it for articulation in general. So now we can move on to weapons and accessories. Now, the Wing Zero Custom signature weapon is, of course, the twin Buster Rifle. And it looks very, very nice. A bit longer than the TV version's Buster Rifle. Pretty much almost the same height as the mobile suit itself. No yellow parts. The entire thing is all molded in gray. Unfortunately, they didn't give us clear green parts for the cameras right there. I just added those myself. But yeah, the whole thing's just molded in gray, so you have to do any painting if you want anything to be different colors. So anyway, it's got two handles, one on each Buster Rifle, and they can flip up and down, in and out, like so. And to split it in half, you just grab it and pull it apart. And we've got these little thingies right here that are supposed to come out like so to make it connect together better, I guess. But honestly, I don't even think you need them, because they stay together perfectly fine without those, so I don't even bother. And when they're separate, you'll take this little part at the bottom that's on a little hinge, swing that up, and it'll sort of peg into place right here on the inside of the Buster Rifle. And now you have two Buster Rifles. Now, as far as weight issues of the Buster Rifle go, I had always heard that this kit was terrible about being able to hold on to his Buster Rifle. But anyway, I haven't modified the hand at all like I did with Wing Gundam Verka. Haven't modified the handle, no pins or anything. And we put the Buster Rifle in there. Make sure he has a nice tight grip on it. And there you go. Really no problems holding it at all, even both halves combined together. I promise I'm not trying to trick you. He's actually holding it out and holding it pretty well. Shake it, stays in place. So I don't know where all those rumors come from. And if Wing Zero can hold both Buster Rifles together with one hand, obviously having them separated and one in each hand at full extension is also no problem at all. It may take you a few minutes to get it set up just right, but I find even when doing this pose, the Wing Zero is able to hold onto his Buster Rifle pretty solidly. As you can see, it survives the shake test. So, yeah, definitely no problems holding the Buster Rifle at all. And another little feature that the Wing Zero Custom has, like the Wing Gundam Verka, has these machine cannons on the shoulders there. They look okay, and they work okay, I guess. My only real complaint about them is that they're kind of tricky to get open, so again, the flathead screwdriver may be your best friend when trying to get those open. And of course, a Gundam wouldn't be complete without beam sabers. You do get 2 of them, white handles, clear green curved beams, a darker green than what we usually get. But yeah, they're beam sabers, so obviously he's going to be able to hold on to them with no problem at all. And for storage, they actually are stored in the wings, the smaller wings on the back. You can see they got a little recessed area. If my camera will focus on it, back here. And the beam saber will just slide in like so. There we go. And it will be stored something like that. Another little accessory we get is the 1:100 scale Hero Yui figure. And I'm not sure if my camera will want to show it to you. There we go. Just painted him up. And the last accessory is the display base. Back up and show you full size of it. There it is. So it's about a little bit taller than Wing Zero himself. Now it's pretty simple. It's not nearly as complicated as an action base, but you know, it is what it is. It does have 2 different settings. You can take the arm and pull it out, and it'll lock in at 2 different angles. So you can have Wing Zero at 2 different angles whenever you're displaying him. And then you got this little thingy right here. And to connect the display base, you're going to have a small blue panel on the backpack that you're going to remove, and the arm of the display base will simply fit up in there. And it actually works pretty nicely, I think. I like the fact that it connects to the backpack rather than up under the crotch, because it gives you a lot more options for displayability. Because, you know, this pose where the legs are crossed like this, really difficult to pull off when you got the display base connected at the crotch. But when it's at the backpack, it makes stuff like this a lot easier. And if you've ever bought an Action Base 1 and wondered what in the world this little connector piece was for, well, you're looking at it right here. Because this is one of, I think, only 2 Master Grades that even use this connector. So, for some reason, if maybe you wanted to put Wing Zero on an Action Base instead of the display base that was included with it, that's what it's there for. And this doesn't come with the Master Grade. This actually comes with the Action Base 1. And while Wing Zero Custom doesn't have a proper bird mode like the TV version does, we do get an atmospheric re-entry mode, as was featured in the movie Endless Waltz. Basically, the wings come up in front of the mobile suit, shielding it from the heat during re-entry, and act as a shield, and that's pretty much all there is to it. So you're just going to be folding the shoulder armor down, bringing the 2 large wings forward, and then the smaller wings will simply fan out in the back like so. And here's just a quick look at the inner frame of the kit. I didn't bother showing it off unpainted because the whole thing's just molded in gray. As you can see, we obviously don't have inner frame for the head or the forearms. This whole shoulder joint is white as well. But the rest of it is pretty much all there. And despite this kit coming out in 2004, it still looks very similar to the newer Master Grade EW interframes. Obviously, again, like I said, with the exception of the head and forearms not having inner frame parts, but the rest of the inner frame that is here is actually very, very similar. As you can see, we got the little Hiro Yui in the cockpit there, and it's actually very, very nicely detailed. And before we wrap up, I did want to do a couple of comparisons. Here's the Wing Zero Custom next to my dusty Wing Gundam Verka. So you can see practically the exact same design with different wings and different weapons and a different color scheme. And of course here is the Wing Zero Custom next to its TV version Okawara designed counterpart. So you can see pretty much Okawara and Kotoki versions of the exact same mobile suit. Alright, so that about does it for my review of the Master Grade Wing Gundam Zero Custom. Is this a perfect kit? No, not by any means, but there is a lot to like about it. I think it looks great. It's a very, very nice looking representation of the Wing Zero Custom. The colors it's molded in are great. I like the fact that Ben actually used dark blue instead of the bright Gundam blue. And the color separation is actually pretty good, with the exception of the stickers for the cameras and the search eye and all that stuff. There's really not any necessary quote-unquote painting that you have to do to this kit, because pretty much everything's molded in all of the right colors. So if you're not into painting, this would definitely be a good kit to try out. The really only complaints that I have about the kit is just some of the awkwardness with a few of the joints and things. Like the wing joints are sort of awkward at times. They'll be bumping into the shoulder armor and the head and stuff. And these little machine cannons on the shoulders, I didn't really care for those on Wing Gundam Verka, and I don't care for them on this kit because they're exactly the same, just because they're so hard to open, and those ears on the side of his head really get in the way, and they're just not very practical at all. The Buster Rifle, I'm not going to lie, I was sort of using movie magic earlier to make it look a lot easier than it was, so you guys didn't see that I spent 5 minutes trying to get the Buster Rifles in the poses I was showing off. He does hold the Buster Rifle. As you can see, it's up off the ground, so he can hold it. It's just, you know, you're going to have to spend a little bit of time getting him to hold it. Putting him in the position will take a little bit of, take a few minutes, but get him in there, shake him around. He still holds onto it perfectly well, so it's not like he's just going to drop it spontaneously. Head and shoulders above Wing Gundam Verka in terms of holding his weapon. I'll definitely give you that. I didn't have to modify the hands on this guy. The decals, some of the decals I thought were kind of dumb looking, and those I left off. Like, why on earth would you even need Colony's Liberation Organization written on the side of your leg, or a big XXXG on the back of the leg? So some of the decals I didn't really care for, but buy your own water slide decals and that fixes that problem instantly. Overall, I like the kit. I like the fact that it comes with its own display base, something that the Wing Gundam Verka missed out on, so that was a nice addition to this kit. And just overall, for however much it costs, 3,800 yen, not a bad buy. Not a bad buy at all. So if you like Gundam Wing, or just like the unique look of the kit, it is the only Gundam with angel wings, but after all, go ahead and pick this guy up. So with that, I will see you guys next time.